Hello and welcome everybody to Storytime. I am Jess and today I am going to be reading chapter 15 of The Blood King. If you have not listened to the rest of the story, I recommend you head on back to Storytime episode 4 and start from there. Otherwise, let's get going. Chapter 15. Please tell me I'm imagining the mini hurricane in your living room, said Kelsey as she entered Janice's apartment. She'd already dealt with the huntress. She didn't think she'd have to add Janice to the list as well. It just kind of happened, Janice attempted to explain. Kelsey rolled her eyes and grabbed Janice's arm, pulling her into the room. What are you doing? Their hair whipped around their faces, fiery red and sandy blonde in the chaos that was Janice's living room. Concentrate. You made it happen. You can make it stop, stated Kelsey. I don't know what I'm doing, snapped Janice. You keep thinking that way and you'll lose control, warned Kelsey. How can you be so calm? This is going to take our heads off with a lamp, shouted Janice. Kelsey ducked down, pulling Janice with her and levelling their eyes. Kelsey spoke slowly. Concentrate and make it stop. Janice held Kelsey's gaze for a while longer before she stood, turning to the hurricane. Holding her hands by her sides, Janice focused on the air. Kelsey watched as Janice's aura melded with the air around her. She stood slowly, trying not to break Janice's concentration. Janice turned her palms towards the hurricane, and the wind started to die down. When the air settled, Janice took a deep breath, then sat on the floor against the wall. I didn't even mean to do that, Janice sighed, her head in her hands. Evidently, the compendium is a greater influence on you than I thought. What started it? Asked Kelsey. I was reading the book you gave me, the bit about the elements. I kept wondering why an elemental witch couldn't get rid of the smoke too. Then it just happened, Janice replied. You need to work on your panic, Kelsey commented, as she looked at the room that was practically destroyed. Waving her hand, Kelsey used her own power to rearrange the room so that it looked untouched. The elements will continue to draw power from you even when you think you aren't controlling them. It's why you need to control them when you're casting a spell, so don't panic, just breathe and exercise control. Is that why I feel like shit now? Asked Janice. Yep, said Kelsey. I'll put air control on my CV, shall I? Asked Janice. Kelsey smirked. At this stage, probably not something you should advertise considering you have trouble backing up that statement. The whole control bit is up for debate. Janice sighed. Sorry, it really wasn't my intention to practice. I just wanted the smell gone. What put it there in the first place? Asked Kelsey. Of course, Kelsey already knew. The emotions embedded all around the walls had showed her. My dad, Janice replied. He smoked. Why did he smoke? Asked Kelsey. Janice sighed. I don't know, he just did. You do know, Kelsey replied. You lived through it too, did you not? You mean he smoked because he missed my mother? Asked Janice. Not exactly, Kelsey said, touching her fingers to the wall and gliding them along. The emotions beneath the surface rose, following Kelsey's call. I feel anger, envy, sadness, pain, emptiness. But the strongest thing I feel is self-loathing. Janice watched as Kelsey drew the emotions to her. While she did not see the colours that Kelsey did, Janice saw the wispy white smoke as it peeled from the walls and the furniture. Kelsey brought it together into her palm, then formed what looked like a small glass ball around it, no bigger than a marble. When it was done, Kelsey offered the glass ball filled with smoke to Janice. Janice no longer smelt the smoke, but now she knew what it had represented. Why self-loathing? He knew what your mother was, and what you were, but he denied it. He pushed it aside, insisted it was false, and in the end he realised he would have disappointed your mother by neglecting you. So he left, Kelsey replied. You can feel all that? Asked Janice. Kelsey shrugged. Emotions are powerful things. Thankfully, it's not only the negative ones that imbue objects. Janice took the marble. Why are you giving this to me? It may not be yours to hold, but sometimes it's better to keep a reminder of the past, Kelsey replied. Throw it away for all I care. It is yours to do with as you please. Kelsey stood and walked towards the kitchen, helping herself to a glass of water. She paused when she spotted the stack of letters on the table. One in particular had caught her eye. Putting down her glass, Kelsey picked up the letter. "Janice?" asked Kelsey. "Yes," asked Janice, standing from the floor in the living room and hobbling over, marble in hand. Kelsey showed her the letter. "When did you get this?" "Today. It came in the mail," replied Janice as she approached, taking the letter from Kelsey. "Why?" "That seal," said Kelsey, pointing at it. "It's Vincent's." Janice looked at the seal with a frown. "You mean El Lorenzo? Wasn't that the vampire you said had moved into town?" Kelsey nodded. "Do you know him?" "Not personally," Janice replied. She broke open the letter, then pulled out a cream-coloured card that was covered in beautiful script and read aloud. "To Miss Janice Knight," she began. "It is my pleasure to inform you that you have been invited to a night of elegance and formality on Sunday the 19th of October at the Dyer House Estate. The host of the evening invites you to take up a partner at evening attire in celebration of Blue Valley's founding on this same night nearly 500 years ago. In hopes of your attendance, Vincent El Lorenzo." Kelsey's eyes narrowed. "Trap?" asked Janice. "Probably," Kelsey nodded. "We must discover who else is attending that evening." "If it is for Blue Valley's founding, surely close to the entirety of the town will be attending," reasoned Janice. "Hence why I got an invite." Kelsey sighed. "Lovely, just another thing to add to my list." Kelsey stepped around the kitchen counter and made her way for the front door. "Hey, Kelsey?" asked Janice. Kelsey paused and looked over her shoulder. "Thank you for today," Janice stated. Kelsey gave a small smile in reply. "You know where to find me when you need me. And remember, keep calm and breathe." Janice smiled in an embarrassed way, then watched as Kelsey left her apartment. Perhaps that witch wasn't as bad as the history books said. Dimitri had been watching the roads all night, just waiting for the huntress to return. Kelsey would have said he was paranoid, mostly because she was arrogant in her abilities. The simple truth was that Dimitri didn't trust easily, especially those who tried to kill him or his family. Standing beside one of the back roads and looking down it for any sign of the huntress Kelsey had sent away, he was surprised to hear a car approaching his position. Few people used this road. The few families that lived on it were all currently occupied. Dimitri had checked. He turned to look behind him, back in the direction of Blue Valley, and a small car came crawling up the dirt road towards him. Dimitri sniffed the air and sighed at the scent he picked up. He had no time to deal with charity cases at this moment. Ashley frowned as she stopped the car on the road not a few feet from where Dimitri Frey stood. His own home was at least 8 miles away, and she saw no car. Had he walked here? She turned off her car and opened the door, leaning over it as she spoke. "Are you okay?" Dimitri sighed. "Fine." "How did you get this far out of town?" asked Ashley curiously. "I walked," said Dimitri. "That's a long way. Would you like a ride back?" she offered. "I'm fine," said Dimitri. "What are you doing on such a little used road?" "Visiting a family friend," stated Ashley. "My dad likes the eggs from the Dover chickens." "How particular of him," Dimitri commented. Ashley shrugged. "I don't mind driving out here if they are free." Dimitri nodded at the reasoning, despite the fact that he did not in the least bit care. He stepped to the side, indicating for Ashley to pass. "Then by all means, retrieve your eggs." Ashley rolled her eyes. "I've got to come back this way, so if you're still here, the offer of a ride still stands." "Don't you have anything better to do than pester me?" asked Dimitri. He didn't care what it sounded like to her. He just wanted her gone. Ashley did look legitimately hurt, but she only glared at him. "Don't you have anything better to do than stand in the middle of the road like a freaking Grim Reaper? I take it back. I won't give you a ride." She hopped back into her car, though Dimitri didn't seem the least bit bothered by her jab at him. Grumbling about what an absolute arse he was, Ashley continued on her way to the Dover farm. Dimitri watched after Ashley's car for a short moment before he turned away, walking back down the road towards Blue Valley. At least the huntress didn't seem to be lingering around. Well, that's it for chapter 15 of The Blood King. I will be taking a temporary break from doing The Blood King, as I've nearly caught up to the part where I was in the middle of rewriting several years ago. So I will be prioritising my projects in preparation for publishing another book officially. But I shall see you next time. I have not finished this project, so certainly will sometime soon. I'll let you know when. See you then. Bye.